The Pope is on Twitter, the Catholic Church under the spotlight for cover-ups of abuse, the self-styled Islamic State seeks to remap a caliphate in Iraq and Syria, and, in an election year, our government trumpets its Judeo-Christian values. What all these stories have in common is an inherent religiosity at their core. And yet, the 2011 census found that 22% of Australians regarded themselves as having no religion, with young people representing a high proportion of that group, an upward trend. So what does the future look like for religious institutions in Australia? And for young people, does it feature faith or faithlessness? 24-year-old Mustafa Rashwani is a project officer at the Lebanese Muslim Association. Located right next to Lakemba Mosque, he runs a number of projects in the association's Engage, Challenge, Grow youth and leadership program that seeks to address problems facing the Muslim community. As a practicing Muslim from Generation Y, what challenges his faith?
So the dogma kind of being very, very attached to the rituals and not necessarily the belief, or being very attached to the structures and the social construction of the religion, and not so much the actual tenets and beliefs in the faith.
Rashwani has recently returned from Hajj, the Islamic pilgrimage to the holy city of Mecca. There he met Muslims from all over the globe. It's an experience that has stayed with him and changed his perspective regarding his faith.
So I went to Jordan and Egypt, and people just kind of pray on the street, on sidewalks. Nobody bats an eyelid. But if I was to go on the sidewalk now and pray, I would feel embarrassed. So I think it's really important that a discussion is opened up about public expressions of faith, and kind of moving away from it being a sense of embarrassment or something we are humiliated with, or something that we try and hide away from. We want to hide our faith, and we want to be a part of mainstream communities, by conceding certain things about our faith. I think it's really important that Muslims move away from that and feel empowered by the distinguishing factors of our faith.
Widian Fares is also a Gen Yer and is the media officer at the Lebanese Muslim Association.
I'm quite comfortable in expressing my faith because I visibly wear hijab, but in saying that, that doesn't mean that there aren't challenges that comes with expressing your faith publicly. Often when people see a Muslim woman who adorns the hijab, they think that she is a representative of all Muslims, and that's a big burden to carry, because you then have to watch out for how you speak, what you do, what you look like, and that's an incredible burden for anybody to carry.
Fares also thinks it's important that young people have a deeper understanding of their faith, but that misconceptions of people from Generation Y abound.
I'm just sick of hearing that young people are supposed to be this lazy generation that don't do anything. We're really, especially from my inner circle, we're very devoted. Everything we do is guided by our faith, but at the same time, we're not an isolated community. We engage with people far beyond our faith, from different contexts, different backgrounds, from people who don't believe in God. So I find it incredibly frustrating as a young person that constantly the public discussion is focused on Gen Y being so lazy, or Gen Y being so apathetic towards such important issues, when I think it's completely opposite. I think we've been more engaged than previous generations, and I think it's important to note that.
A different hub of young faith-based involvement is located over in Chippendale. The Cardinaire Project is a student-focused hub for volunteering, founded by Father David Braithwaite, a Jesuit priest. The not-for-profit now runs volunteering opportunities both locally and overseas. The full-time commitment of running the project for its founder, David Braithwaite, leaves nothing untested.
So I am pretty critical of our culture. I am, without a doubt. I think we're in a kind of spiral of superficiality. The young people I deal with know far more about the Kardashians than they really do about their own tradition, religiously, I would say, in many cases. And that is just straight up tragic. Does that make me a cranky old conservative? Yes, sometimes it does. So I have to push against that. But most definitely, it was a shock when I got into this work full time, how difficult it can be to make faith intelligible, or to give people the opportunity to experience God. So what I would say is the church is not irrelevant, faith is not irrelevant. It is going to have to be born, in newer forms, or creative ways of engaging.
Pat Griffiths reporting for That's Why.